Um, I, I just. So. Hold on. Let me. So today I wanted to do some like story readings, but I can't really find any. I thought I could find some, but let's see. Uh, kind of do like different little storybooks from either video games or something something like that. Let's see. Hopefully we can find something that's not too long. Um, I don't do ASMRs very often, so I don't have the ASMR mic if you're new here, so. Alright, let's see. Shall we do. Um. Spectre, hello, welcome on in. I'm trying to think of like books, stories that you could find in video games. Um, I don't want. I want it. I want books that are in games that could be. Let's see. I kind of got inspired by I think someone was playing Mario Galaxy, and I was like, what if I do an ASMR of telling stories? Because I've been doing that when I play Star Rail sometimes, so I thought about just doing that for once. Like I said, it's been a while. I don't even remember the last time I did an ASMR. Let me check. It's been so long. Back in February. It's kind of a lot. Okay. It's kind of a while. A while, yeah. Alright. What I'm gonna do is that I'm going to so I'm gonna put out whatever I'm reading for you guys. so that you guys can go along. Alright, this is. We're gonna do the one that inspired me to do this. Which is Rosalina. She is from the Mario franchise. Put it right there. Alright. A story begins a very, very long time ago with a young girl. One day, this girl spotted a rusty spaceship holding a small star child. Hopefully this is loud for you guys. I'm like right up to the mic. What is your name? Are you lost? The child asked the star child. I am Luna. I am waiting for Mama. She's coming for me on a comet. Said the star child, who has been waiting day and night. Don't worry, I'll wait with you, the little girl promised Luma. At nightfall, the little girl borrowed her father's telescope and peered into the night sky. She looked and looked, but she saw nothing. Hours turned into days, and then years. But still the sky revealed nothing. Let me adjust this. Finally, the little girl sighed. Oh. Sir Kif, hello and welcome on in. Finally, the little girl sighed and said to Luma, if we find nothing if we stay here much long. Sorry, I read that wrong. If we stayed here looking much longer, I'll be an old lady soon. But then she had an idea. Why don't we go out there and find your mother's ourselves? The girl and Luma fixed up the rusty spaceship, and the two set sail into the starry sky. And this is how the search of the celestial mother began. Let's see if this works. I think it works. Yeah. They passed with no sight of the comet, or even a little planet. Wait. Instead, asteroids extended for as far as the eye could see. If I'd known it, let it. These tiny texts. If I had known it was going to take this long, we would have packed more jam, said the little girl above the rumbling of her belly. Before they left, she packed all her essentials: telescope, butterfly net, stuffed bunny, bread, milk, jam, and apricotted flavor tea. But I forgot to bring water. At this, Luma burst into the gales of laughter, and the little girl began to pout. As long as we have star bits, it'll be fine, said Luma. Want some? The little girl couldn't stay mad after hearing this. Wilma continued to laugh, and the little girl couldn't help but join in. All right, maybe just a nibble. Leaning far of the ship, the pair began to collect with the girl's net, not nest. I don't know where I got that S from. Turn it down just a smidge. There we go. They almost fell out a few times, but they kept on collecting. The star bits taste like honey. Let's see here. A beam of light pierced through the ship's window. Thinking it was the morning sun, the girl peered through the window, only to find a turquoise blue comet shimmering at her. The little girl shook the sleeping Luma, awake, and shouted excitedly, "We have to get that comet!" The pair descended on the comet and found that it was made of ice. They looked high and low, but Luma's mother was nowhere to be found. Exhausted, the little girl sat down with a flop, unable to take another step. Look! Peering down at the icy ground where Luma was pointing, the girl suddenly noticed clusters of star bits encased in the ice. Encased in the ice. Yes. Pretty good, huh? Finding star bits is my specialty, said Luma, beaming. There's ice here, but it's so warm. I bet there's water too. The two decided to stay on the comet for a while. Riding the turquoise comet, the pair continued their search for Luma's mother. One night, the girl dreamed about her own mother. "Where are you going?" she asked her mother, retreating back. Without turning, her mother replied, "Don't fret, dearest. I'm not going anywhere. I'm always watching over you. The sun, like the sun in the day and the moon at night." A wave of sadness washed over the girl. What about it when it rains and I can't see the sun or the moon? Her mother thought for a moment before responding. "I will turn into a star in the clouds and wait for you to dry, for your tears to dry." When she awoke, the girl's face was damped with tears. "You have star bits in your eyes," said the Luma to the girl. Wiping her face, the little girl replied, "These are tears, not star bits. I'm crying because I'll never see my mother ever again." At this moment, Luma began to cry too. "Mama, oh mama, why?" How sad. How sad. The pair traveled through the starry skies, and though they encountered many other comets, not comments, not one of them held Uma's mother. Uma was despondent. Now, Uma, the rain clouds won't go away if you keep crying, the little girl said, giving Uma a squeeze. I'll give you a present if you stop. The little girl closed her eyes and said gently, I will take care of you. With these words, she felt a small spark in her heart. The kitchen will go here, and the library will go there. The little girl was bustling to herself. Bustling? I don't know. We'll put a gate here. Ever since the little girl took Uma under her care, she has been bustling about a feverish pace. There's a lot of work, but it's worth to make a happy home. It turned out that star pits weren't only things buried in ice. There were tools and furniture unlike anything they had ever seen, and the little girl used them to build a home. Looking at the completed house, Uma remarked, Don't you think it's awfully big just for the two of us? With a library, bedroom, kitchen, fountain, and gate. It was clearly spacious, but still something seemed to be missing. If only my father, brother, and mother were here, the girl said wishfully. Indeed, the house was too large for just two small residents. That night, clutching to her favorite stuffed bunny, close to her heart, the girl fell asleep in the starship. Then one day, while the girl sat sipping tea, a tiny apricotted colored planet appeared on the horizon. From the planet, another Uma from the same color emerged. Do you two know each other? The girl asked the two Lumas gleefully. Despite the girl's excitement, they seemed uneasy. The two Lumas never drew closer nor backed away from each other. Instead, they just stared. The one Luma broke the silence. My mama. At once the apricotted Luma parroted back. My mama, my mama. My mama, my mama. The two Lumas began to dance around the girl frantically, and neither showed any signs of stopping. The girl was so charmed by this adorable scene that she couldn't help but laugh. And that's when something very strange happened. Suddenly, more Lumas began to pop out of the apricotted planet. They were different colors, but they all shouted the same thing. My mama, my mama. The sight of all the shouting Lumas only made the girl laugh harder. What am I gonna do with all these children? The Loomis just stared blankly as she doubled over laughing. I guess we'll have to name each and every one of you. Tomorrow, once she had finished naming them all, she would begin the Luma into the new house. After seeing their 100th comment, a sudden thought popped into the girl's head. I wonder if my home planet is still blue as it was. That's when she remembered her father's telescope. Peeking through the telescope, a tiny blue dot floated into sight. It was smaller than a star bit. How strange. It's so far away, but it feels so close. She twisted the knob of the telescope, and a blue dot grew until she couldn't make out. Could she? Until she could make out a grassy hill dotted with flowers. But it seems very familiar to her. Zooming even closer, a terrace on the hill came to view. I used to go stargazing there when I lived on my own planet. She remembered rubbing the sleep out of her eyes as she followed her father up to the hill to look at the stars. She remembers how she and her brother would sled down that hill. She remembers even picnicking with her mother that has on that hill on a bright windy days. And I wanted to go home. I want to go home now. But the girl burst into tears, and the Lumas did not know what to do. I want to go home. I want to go back to my house by the hill. I want to see my mother. But the girl was shouting now, her face wet with tears. But I know she's not there. I knew all along that she wasn't out there in the sky because she's sleeping under that tree on the hill. The girl cries echoed through the stars, and a hush fell over the area. Though usually quite cheerfully, one day the girl became sad again. Luma drew closer and tried to cover her. Mama, you still have me. And you don't have to be sad about your mama, because she's part of you. That means she's always close by. It's like me. I love starbits because they remind me of my mama. No, no, the girl said, unable to stop the tears. A lonely look flickered across Luma's face. It was all soon replaced by a wide grin. I have an idea. We'll transform into a comet. Not we. I'll transform into a comet, a soaring comet that can carry you along this journey. With that, Luma, trailing bands of white, soar high into the sky and just as quickly started to plummet back down. Kaboom, kablam! The ground shook, and bright light poured out of the crater. Even I'm getting sleepy. I won't make the ASMR very long. Probably like 2 hours. Yeah, it's already like not even 30 minutes. A bright light poured out of the crater as the Luma created. Excuse me. The bands of the light twisted together to form a comet's tail, and the Luma emerged reborn as a comet. The girl could scarcely believe her eyes. But how? She kept asking. Our destinies as Luma is to transform into different things, said the red Luma, who had suddenly appeared. Stars, comets, planets, we can become all of those things. When we grow up, we want to become a star that makes someone special smile, said the green Luma. A blue Luma chimed in. That Luma turned into a real cutie of a comet, didn't he? All of those Lumas together said, "No more crying, Mama." "Thank you," she said in a whisper. And she pulled the Lumas close and hugged them. From now on, the star bits no longer fell from the girl's eyes. The comet set forth for the girl's home planet, its long tail blazing proudly behind it. Hold on. I want to get something to drink. Okay. With its many lumas and telescopes, the comet was bright. Yeah, it was bright. The comet was quite a sight to behold. The girl and the Lumas were proud to call it a home. At a welcoming party for the two Lumas, the girl gathered everyone in the kitchen and said in a louder voice than usual, "All right, everyone, let's make cake. A cake sprinkled with star bits. Then it will be a star cake. The Lumas excitedly began to gather the ingredients. As she watched the Lumas scurried about, the girl smiled and thought to herself, "This is now my family, and I will stay with them until they're ready to leave their nest. And when they do leave, I will send them off with a smile, because that's what makes a mother happiest." That night, when the girl lay down to sleep, a soft light envelopes her and reminded her of the blue planet she once called home. But it would be nice to return once every 100 years to nap in my favorite sleeping nook. The comet carrying the Lumas and the girl continues on its journey to this very day, with more family members in tow can be counted. It's said that the comet visits the girl's home planet every 100 years, its proud white tail glittering in the sky. The end. Alright. I had a little snack. Alright, since that's done, is there any other stories that we should do? Or... Hmm. I know Genshin has some stuff. Why are you... What are you scared about? I'm just making some noises. Why are you so scared? Oh, you're just surprised. Okay. Oh my goodness, I forgot that some volumes when Genshin has their books are super duper long. Let's see. We can try to do one from each region. We'll do one that's not very long. Let's see, which one seems a little interesting? That isn't very long. Let's see, from Mondstadt we have The Legend of Vernessa, the Mondstadt Tower, that's not really I'm not reading that one, that one's way too long. Balds of the Squire, Heart of the Clean Springs, A Drunkard's Tale, this Breeze and Mist from the Forest, I don't know, something about the Drunkard's Tale sounds interesting to me. Okay. I spelled that wrong. Okay, time to. In the land where the dandelion wine flows like a river, tales have a way to spread far and wide, following closely in the wake of the whiff of the wine. Far-fetched fables are always sure to spread when boasted between burps and hold on. By intoxicated patrons. For these stories share something in common with the slur speech and the seasickness inducing swain that so often accompanies them, which is that despite being clumsy and awkward, they are also highly entertaining. Legend has that the that there was once a famous drunkard in Mondstadt. It was said that he could hold his alcohol as well as any hunter from Springvale in the off-season, and yet he would still drink till he was drunk. Every time that he drank, he would not budge so much as an inch back from the bar, as the tavern will not a single mora was left in his coin pouch. And not a single drop of wine remains in his glass. One night this drunkard was doing his best to stumble home after the particularly satisfying session of especially heavy drinking. A combination of his spinning head, worried vision, and zigzagging pride served to navigate him towards the forest populated by wolves. Today, of course, wolvendom is preside over the great wolf king of the north. And the ominous atmosphere that emanates from inside the forest. This signifies to dear most sober-headed visitors from approaching the area. According to the elderly hunters, the Wolf King gathers the spirits of the wolves there to prevent outsiders from trespassing into territory when they came where they are not welcome. But this was an age long before the Wolf King and the North Wind had descended upon the forest, bringing order to the peace of the wolven race. At the time, the forest was a perilous place where the wild wolves fought for survival. A fierce battle feud between the wolves played out a deep sigh in the dense foliage, concealed from the view of unbeknownst. Okay, to any man, at least to all of the drunkards who had by this point managed to transport his drunken self quite some distance inside the forest. He stumbled forward into the darkness with that dodge determined that only drunkards possessed. Deread neither by the tree's root that would trip him up every few steps, nor by the stray branches that would slap him in the face from time to time. Before long, a pair of green eyes began darting through the forest, their gaze fixed on him, tracking his every move. Those eyes belonged to a lone wolf who silently pursued the drunkards from behind, all the while musing to itself. This is the most particular sight I have ever seen in my life. No one has dared set foot in the wolves' forest in the wolves' forest. There we go. In hundreds of years, be day and night clad top to head to toe in shining steel armor, or a desperate fugitive dressed in rags. Even the catalyst nobles refused to exile their slaves there, for fear of inciting the wrath of the wild wolves. Wolves? Wolves. The, the wild wolves. 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 Woof, woof. And bringing unwanted trouble to their own territory. And yet, this odd fellow dares to stroll here all by himself. How very strange indeed. The lone wolf pondered this strange phenomenon as it followed the drunken intruder into the forest, doing its best to ignore the stench of alcohol that was wafting its way. It is a well-known fact that the wolves have a far keener sense of smell than humans. Another way of putting this is that their noses are much more sensitive. True. That is true. Little wonder there. Little wonder then that the stench of alcohol emanates from the wolves' now historically intoxicated prey was quite stifling, and caused tears to well up in its eyes. Ow! The wolf thought to itself, having been born in the wilderness and grow up in the forest. Yeah, I read that right. The wolf had never had any contact with human civilization before this night, and thought it would have once caught the faint scent of wine wafting across Cider Lake. It did not know the scent's origin, less still under the significance of that substance to humankind. Perhaps this particular fellow is a relative to the skunk, for it seems that he discovered my presence quite some time ago, and now means to poison me in the efforts to secure his escape. The wolf pondered this possibility as it braced itself against the onslaught of alcoholic fumes. Picked up its pace and discreetly maneuvered its way into the drunkard's shadow, the perfect vantage point from which to inspect its prey. The wolf is a creature of caution and calculation. The drunkard, meanwhile, is a different sort of creature entirely. And yet, though the wine tends to dizzy the mind and dull the senses, it sometimes offers its consumers the curious capacity to detect the subtlest of change in direction of the wind. Perhaps this could explain how a bumbling drunkard fumbling through the forest was suddenly able to discover the presence of a wolf that had been stealthily following him the entire time. Or perhaps the alcoholic fumes given off by the drunkard were significantly potent to diminish the wolf's mental acuity. to the point that the wolf became less mindful of the terrain beneath its paws. The rustling sound of snapping twigs was alerting the prey to the predator's presence. Who was that? Don't suppose you know know which way the toilet is, by any chance? The bumbling drunkard rubbed his blurry eyes. Foul-smelling human, snarled the wolf. Who are you, and whence proceed your stench? The wolf flared its nostrils, bore its tangs, bore its fangs, and growled. Not only the drunkard unafraid when he heard the wolf's gruffy voice threat, but he even came quite animated. My friend, the drunkard replied, clearly I've offended you. Somehow. Sorry about that. But anyway, Mondstadt's tradition says that you are not allowed to be drunk and bored at the same time. So, here we are out in the woods on this glorious moonlight night. How about I tell you a story? His proposal was promptly punctuated by the almighty belch. Before this point, the wolf had no intentions of listening to the belching buffoon drunken ramblings. In fact, it was poised to deliver a fatal blow to its prey by lunging for the neck, sinking its fangs in and tearing his throat clean out. But the drunkard belch blasted a further about of the fumes in the wolf's direction, assailing its nostrils with such force that it ruins the wolf's appetite entirely. Grudgingly, the wolf agrees. Perhaps I'm not so hungry after all. Let me see what nonsense tale you have to tell. The drunkard sent the drunkard stench out his stench. Now I'm making stuff up. The drunkard stretched his arms out and let out a loud yawn, disturbing a few dandelions in the process. And with that, the drunkard began his tale. Trying to keep myself awake. Legend tells of a lone wolf that roamed a bare wasteland far, far away. Once he had been a king of his pack, leading them to the hunt and battle in search for a home. Now the soul remains legacy to those days, were the scars that were covered his body. He has led the way as they ran across the open plains, navigated through the abandoned ruins, and passed through the domains of the monsters in the Sealy. The wasteland was a cruel place. The Wolf King grew older, and with each passing day, and the older wolves gradually disappears. As time went by, Sayo, thank you for the raid again. How are you doing? I know you raided yesterday, so that's why. Hello, everybody. I am Mystic Grey Wolf. We are reading Genshin stories uh, with ASMR. Okay. Playing Monster Hunter again. There we go. Just lay on back and just listen on in as we begin the drunkard's tale. This wasteland is said to be the land beyond the domain of its deities, inhabited only by the grotesque ghostly remains of the fallen gods, where the former places of the Seelie now stand empty. So when the Solidarity old wolf passed by the grey palace and heard the sound of music coming from within, it caught its attention. Never before I have heard of a sound so pleasing to the ears, whenever it was a song of the bird or insect, that it stays the page of hunger in my starved stomach as this tune does. Intrigued, the wolf steps inside the grey hall, trots across the overgrown weeds, and pass by a broken stone coffin. I'm replacing some words because I don't know how to say them. On which the portrait of the deceased ruler was clearly visible. He finally came into the inner room, where he saw a fair maiden strumming at her instrument. Her skin was ash white, and her hair was bowed down, her slender fingers gently stroking the frail strings of the lute. As she played along forgotten and mournful melody, the wolf sat down in front of the pale young maiden and forgot about the pain and hunger, thirst and loneliness for a short while, as it listened in the silence to her song, the chirping of insects on a long-gone autumn night is the chorus of exiles. It's about me? No, it's about a different wolf. It's about like a wolf king. Ow, what the heck? It's like something poked me. Singing mankind most ancient song as they lived out their flight, stripped of all the body once held close and the soul once held dear. Song and memory are all that now remain of yesteryear. The last singers, the first Seelie, they played their final tune in the halls of angels. The tiny Seelie playing in the forest were also drawn to the young maiden's tune. The flocked to her to pay her respects. "What is this song that you played?" the wolf asked, puzzled, for it understood every line, every word, every syllable she spoke, and yet hers was a language that had never heard before, quite unlike that of any other living being. "A song for the Seelie," replied the young pale maiden in a soft voice. "Long, long ago, we wrote this song for human savages, yet now we sing it to mourn our own fate." The wolf began to sing along, albeit clumsily, to the maiden's tune. The wolf's voice was husky and broken, filled with a lifetime of sorrow. "What are you singing?" the maiden asked the wolf. "This is our song," responded the wolf. "It sounds ghastly." The maiden made no attempts to soften her criticism, and she continued to caress the lute strings. "But you are welcome to sing along with me, all the same." And so, a shared chorus sung by fair young maiden and weary old wolf, filled the chambers of the long abandoned palace. It is said that to this day adventurers who passed this place still heard a strange yet harmonious melody surrounding from within. And then the story ends here. The wolf licks its lips, somewhat ruefully, right? And then said, "I suppose I shall tell you a story now." And with that, the wolf cleared his throat and began to tell its tale. Legend has that the first wine of Mondstadt was brewed in the age when the north wind howled. In the age of the kings of ice and frost fought for dominion. Mondstadt's forebears brewed rudimentary? Yeah, I think. Rudimentary wine from the wild fruits. Even as they shivered in the biting cold, they did so to ease the pain of their frostbitten fingers, and to give them the courage to face the harsh and unforgiving ice. For at that time the land of Mondstadt was engulfed by ice and snow, and the dandelions have not reared its heads. I don't think we'll get all to. It is said that the first person in Mondstadt to discover the craft of winding brew was a grossly negligent guard. Okay. In a tribe beset by blizzards on all sides, it was the inevitable job on the hardy hunter-gatherers to stock those storage pits with food. And it was the guard's task to guard against intruders. The sight of the human intruder was a rare one indeed in the harsh environment. But there was other creatures who could better withstand the cold, and they would burrow underground to reach the food stocks. The rules of the tribe were that one person should inspect the storage pits at all times, filling in any mouse holes discovered, or better still, catching them red-handed in the act, pilfering to keep the tribe's food supplies at plentiful levels. At the time, the damp, darkened caves, even constant care and attention to prevent the food they held from going bad and rotting. On top of this, the mischievous little creatures, yes, okay, that hid away out of sight would sometimes play pranks on the guards. Uh-oh. One day, a willy wind, a willy wind spirit noticed that the grossly negligent guard was once again being grossly negligent. So, the spirit took the form of a fox and crept into the pile of wild apples. There, it caused yeast to grow, ripening the apples to cause them to ferment. The grossly negligent guard was ravenous when he returned, and elected to partake in one of the apples. The mellow taste of the fermented fruit delighted both his body and his mind. Immediately he took the animal hide and squeezed the juice from the apples, creating wine. The grossly negligent guard who first invented brewing at the age of ice and snow also became Mondstadt's first drunkard. It is also said that he is the first person ever to fall into a drunken dream. In his first drunken dream, he drunkenly dreamt that he had become a lone wolf somewhere in the long-lost past, or possibly the far-flung future. He fought fang and claw with a rival wolf pack, battled with humans for food in the midst of a raging snowstorm, and met the first Sealy. No, it is not me. I'm not. No, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not. The tribe-dwelling human of the pack-dwelling wolf could not bear to live in solitude. This newly brewed wine served to bring man and wolf together in their dreams, but their attitude towards these dreams were polar apart. The human who knew only the wind and snow yearned for the wasteland, where also a lone wolf runs freely, but the lone wolf was fearful for the human's desire. It could not understand why this human was captivated by the dangers of illusions and sought hope from within them. What concerned the wolf even more was that even in the drunken human dream, it could no longer distinguish whenever it was a wolf or a human within a woven spirit. So the wolf swore an oath never to touch the human's poisons again, to resist the allure of wine. Wolves are not children of the wind, and the land of the wine and song is not their home. So the wolves left the human's domain and settled far off into the wilderness and deep in the mountain forests, places where the scent of wine could not reach them. What would you humans call wine? What you humans call wine, we wolves call the abyss. The wolf concluded. But as the wolf turned towards the drunkard to say this line, it it's discovered that the drunkard was now lying fast asleep on a bed of pine branches. The wolf was most displeased and violently expelled a puff of air from its nostrils before leaving the still pungent pile of sleeping human to his business and going on its way. Alright, so that's that. Let's see what else we got. Let's try not to get something that's too long. It is not lore about me. It is not. Alright, we'll read this from Leeway. Oops. There we go. What are you talking about? This is Genshin lore, not my lore. I'm not from Genshin. Alright, Springs of the Hidden Jade. It was when dawn's first dew drizzled upon the lotus leaf, and frogs sang once more to the young man began to wake. The morning sun cast shards of light through the bamboo wood, ever so slightly, evaporating the previous night's dew, still sticking on his lean. Is it lean? Line? His line? On his line clothes, while purely glistening were the white mane strands that yet lingered on his shoulder. As the sun shone upon his face, the young man stood up from the lethargy stood up from his enthusiasm, half opening his eyes. Only then he discovered that which had disrupted his slumber, a pair of eyes sparkling like ember gold. It's getting late, lazy bones. The slender golden-eyed woman leaned over slightly, her long platinum hair flowing over her shoulder. Her words bore annoyance, but her eyes hid a smile. The young man had to come to the Valley of the Hidden Jade to cultivate his arts, only to unexpectedly encounter an adeptess on the night as she too passed through the same woods. She wore a long white cotton robe, and the pearly raincoat, and a hat were about her. Her eyes were dazzling and gentle, yet indifferent, and her voice was elegant and tranquil. So much has that he has forgot the moon's rise and fall, the cycle of and orbit of the stars. Even the first croaks of the frogs and cries of the cicadas at dawn slipped away from him. After that, she even took on a tour and secluded abodes where the Adepti dwelled. And there she had him watch a unfinished game of chess to the bottom of a clear river, exploring the court of the deceased deities upon steep cliffs that overlooked the desolated cities left behind by the mountain tribes. And still after, when silver butterflies glittered in the moonlight, they would explore the dreams of the fish that played beneath the springs, and they danced together like the ancestral mages who revered the serpent, accompanied the demon and gods of the mountain in falling into deep slumber only when the cicadas had fallen silent. Recalling all of this, the young man gazed at her back in sight. What's wrong? Who were you? Who you were fine just now. Why are you zoning out of us all of a sudden? Sensing his companion's curiosity, the young man, who had thus far simply gazed at her silence, spoke of the misgiving he held in his heart. Mortal, there are but transit. I think it's transit. Gets between the heavens and earth, and thus are inclined to momentarily joy and sadness, binding ourselves to individually points in the past and forever seek their echoes. But what would the Inadeptus think of such a lovely night? You do think highly of yourself. Alas, I may forgot you in but a moment. We Adepti really are heartless like that. Then she gave him a sly smile, and her eyes squinted to slits. But since you like to know, I'll tell you. Okay. A mortal views time as an eternal river of blood, no matter how the crimson torrent rushes along its fixed paths, no matter how it branches and diverges, it surges to prevent towards a horizon so red it appears black, towards distance silent death. But in her eyes, time is a barren wasteland with neither beginning nor end, blanketed in spider's silk threads that sketch to unknown distances. Here, all things walk or run, even the mighty mountains, so fixed in mortal sight, may dissipate like rolling clouds in hers. Even Mercury, which mortals hold to be enduring through her amber gold eyes, can be seen to be wear, tear, and collapse. Okay. To say nothing of such fleeting troubles or love. In the end's journey of life, mortals often miss their homeland and thus wander amidst time's boundless flow, entering fantasies that a lost image could be recreated in the future, though they are driven and pushed by the torrents of the past years, and when forced to make devastating decisions, they will often look back at the past, perplexed, as though light long fate might yet return. But not so her. She sprinted forever alongside the movements, her flying hair ever white gold as she shattered every wave and dispersed all sentiment, caring only to run from the moments into the future. The mountain people once viewed her as the time's daughter, like a white horse, leaping from the pure spring, one whom no shackles could bind. Just as it was with her proud mother, so it was with her. No wall or eggshell could bar her path. The shepherds of the plains once pursued her steps, freeing themselves from fetters, the fetters of the wilderness, embarking on a migratory search for the waterweed, and thus did the golden white foal blaze the trail for all herds in the land. The kingdom of the ocean depths once saw her as an emissary, and based on her imagination, they granted her scales and tail plumage, falling down in worship of the light brought by who was both mother and daughter. In the days when mortals received their blessings from the heavens, great heroes and wandering companions would visit the clear springs for her blessing, fighting over the tenderness she left in her hurried wake. But when the moon palace collapsed, the chariot fell, and the three sisters were slain. These legends became lost alongside disaster's descent and the downfall of bygone peoples. The heavens rained down cruel order, and from that day the stars stilled their orbit, and the earth ceased to turn. As for her, she had no choice but to trapped within the shell of the starry night, forced to tardy within this stagnant foreign land, awaiting her mother's thousand threads, awaiting the erosion of hardy stone, awaiting the next encounter from beyond. Now then, I've answered your question, and as far for the story that follows, I told you much of it last night. He knew not when, but she already wrapped herself in a white shirt. She turned her back to the scattered sunlight, and her amber golden eyes glittered in the darkness. I know it seems rude to mention this now, but I know you only have but I only know but I know you only have a transcendent adeptus, but not where you came from, or even your name. Might might I have it? Okay. Once again, just as she had once faced another child, she knew not amidst the bamboo forest. She only laughed, saying nothing more. Sighing, the old man nodded to her, bidding her farewell. Many years later, the young man, now gray and old, recalled this moment by chance. By then he had honored, not honored, honed, he had honed his swordblade to flow like water, founded his seat. Wait, that's not right. Founded his own sect and became a teacher. And still he never could comprehend the final story she told him. And as for her, she sprints still along the threads of fate, concealing her trail beneath the forest in springs, far from the gaze of the gods, guarding the ancestor stories that slipped away even from her. Alright, that's that for that. I'll do one more and then I'll end. Why? Because I don't do ASMRs very long. I just don't. Also, you can hear me yawn, so like good morning. It's not even morning for me. Good night. Sure. I guess it's a little closer to night for me. It's like 6 p.m. I'm trying to find one that's not just too long, but oh, this has only one. Okay, just have to copy and paste this one then. How was my day? It was alright. It's just a normal day. There we go. Alright, this only has like one volume, so. It is often said that the drawn bow is like the quartered moon, and studying the blade is like a circle transparent jade. It is said that when the Narukami came to her people, she brought with her the knowledge of crafting swords. After thousands of years and hundreds of bountiful harvests, mortal swordsmiths were last able to make swords that would please even Narukami herself. Thus did the Grand Shrine and the Shogunate enact this divine ceremony. They collected the greatest swords in the world, and offered them up to the shrine, thus naming them these blades Goshinto. This ceremony was very lively, one indeed, and the practice persists up to the present period. However, there are many behind the curtain matters concerning the Goshuto that few know of. No famous craftsman nearly forged one blade in one sitting. The greatest of their works are known as Shinyuchi. Yes, Shinyuchi. And are given a lovely name before being offered to the craftsman's lord and deity. These are not built for taken lives, and are to remain pure. The others are known as the Kageuchi, and will be given to retainers, for them to use as weapons. These are often to be used to shed blood, and will thus be stained with impurity and filth. From the day Narukami Gogen, the first shogun, began her dominion over the land of Inazuma, she was accompanied by her younger twin sister, Shin and Kage. Light and dark they were, meditating and holding court, ordering and giving battle. The younger of the two was named A. And if her name was to be written plainly, it would likely be the word for shadow, which she was in relations to the first shogun, to whom she would become the successor. As most know, only 7 emerged from the rack of the ruin of the war that rolled across the mortal world like the crimson storm. Through the 7 shoguns, through the shadow shogun was divinely skilled in martial arts, and unsurpassed with the blade. She believed herself little more than a warrior with the understanding of a mortal's heart. Thus she chose to give up her bodily form, helping her sister to ascend to the heavenly citadel. Yeah. And obtaining dominion over Inazuma shortly after, the true shogun Makoto set up her shogunate and began to rule over the land. Remembering their bond, she recalled A's divine will and reforged her body, thus returning her sister to her side once more as the Kage Musha. Alright, that's all it. That's all it for reading. We do have a little bit more time, so that's all the read I'm gonna do, so don't worry. Oh, goodness. um okay. 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 Oh my goodness. I am yawning. I've been yawning this morning. Like all day today. It's weird. Dude. And I died in Monster Hunter. I mean, okay. I don't know what to say about that. Besides, like, um, besides whatever, I guess. um, maybe could try. We'll see. We'll see who I want to raid for Twitch. Because I can't raid yet on YouTube until I reach, like, what was it? 300? Or was it 500? I don't know. I know I'm not eligible for it yet, so that's all I know. Let's see. Oh, 1,000. I need 1,000. So, and I only have 179. Almost 180. But not quite. Do you want to play something? Oh, I don't know. We got 15 minutes left before I end stream. I don't know what to play. That's also ASMR worthy. So I don't know. 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 Oh goodness. So tomorrow we're gonna be doing Zenless Zone Zero. Yes. I'm not gonna play Fortnite. No Fortnite. I don't even have the game. I don't. But I will tell you, I did play Fortnite one time on someone else's account. And no. No. It's not my thing, bro. It's not. Even if I was to play it as a goal, like a sub goal or follow goal, then fine, I would do it, but That's the only chance you're gonna get me out of it. For playing Fortnite. You wanna play League of Legends? Who do you mean by he? Who do you mean by he? Because, it's been a while since I played it. Is that what I mean, is that what you want to play? No, no. No. No, I think just talking is okay. I just want to talk because I haven't really done that while having a game on and whatever. And a lot of streamers have done it before they get into gameplay. I just never had a chance because I don't really have any people that are in my chat before and after. Well, not like before I start stream. Right at the beginning, I mean. So it's like not everyone is there until, I don't know, 15 minutes later. Azu, aren't you streaming? Why are you in my stream? Why are you chatting in my stream? I never talk. That's because you're doing homework. Why are you streaming your own homework? Oh yeah, hold on. Let me. You rated me before. No. Dang it. Oh well. I see no stream. Then why are you talking to me in chat? Why are you talking to me in chat? Oh, Azu. He's streaming, but then he talks to other people in other chats while he's streaming. I don't see me. Are you not streaming anymore? No, that's not what I wanted. Wait. Don't gaslight me, mister. I am? But you just rated me. How are you streaming when you just rated me? That usually means that you're not streaming. Or how does that work? How does that work? Oh, whatever. I'm I didn't say you rated. I'm talking to Zio, not you, Azu. I'm talking to Zio, not you. But you had rated me before, is what I'm saying. You had. And I thought about giving you VIP role because you got me a VIP over there. How many streamers are you watching? Wow, you're streaming. Let me guess, you probably have Asmongold, you have, you have yourself, you probably have a VTuber, you have me. I don't know what VTuber, but just a VTuber. That's not me. I actually don't know. But I was in his chat earlier and he was streaming homework stuff. Like, why would you? I don't know. I feel like it kind of. Second screen it. Oh my god. Oh, Azu. Oh, Abu. Oh, Abu. Hold on. Because if I was to stream my own homework, I feel like that's kind of like doxing myself. There, I typed something in your chat. Oh, an article? Okay. Like, I mean, like, if you have to do, like, reports and stuff like that. Waiting for inspiration? Here's an inspiration for you. Hold on. Where is... I thought I added you on there, but... There you go. Enjoy yourself. Okay, that's good, that's good. Just don't stream your theses. Theses? Thesis. Because we don't want doxing. No one wants doxing. Feet. You want... Let me put that away. Feet. 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 Come on. Feet. 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 I'm kind of scared if someone just comes in here and be like, what the fuck is happening? We'd like to move it, move it. We'd like to move it, move it. You'd like to move it. I asked my Reiki mama to do that for me because I like to dance, and she's like, yeah, I'll do that. Don't worry, Duck would dig this. Don't let him see it, okay? Don't let him see it. Don't let him see this. Yeah, no problem. I know I got VIP over your chat, so I might as well just do that for you. Yes. I mean, they're my shoes. They're not actually my feet, but... I used to give, like... I knew there was, like, a person in chat a long time ago that would ask for steppies. So, this is what I did. Who's acting like we're friends? I'm a little confused. Oh, I wanted to show you guys something. Hold on. Hold on. I want to show you guys something that I just made today. Look at her. It's Gura. I made Gura today. I think it's more like the... I don't know. I think it's like her eyebrows and the bangs are like throwing me off here. But since she's graduating soon, now I'm sad. I want to show some appreciation. Okay? Can I die? What am I doing? What is it? Oh. I want to show some appreciation, okay? I was gonna do it for her birthday, but she's not gonna be around for her birthday, so... Sadly. I'm gonna do like other... So I did other ones like her in the past. Let me show you them. We're looking at my own arts. Because I can. Top clippers. Okay. I don't get clipped a lot, but it is what it is. So we got Octavio's. He actually liked it. Here's a... Yeah, this is... Yeah, he liked my art of him. It makes me so happy. And then I did one of Callie for her birthday. I'm actually pretty proud of how her crown came to be for this. We got Shiori. How do I send in my art? If you go in my Discord, there is a little channel that you can send your own art stuff out. So I did one of Shiori, and then she, like, was one of the few people that liked it. I'm like, oh my god. What else have I done? I did Regis for his birthday last year, but I reposted it because, you know, he was still on break and whatever. No, it was not. It's not Suise. It's it's. Hold on. It's Regis. The one I just showed you. That's him. I got his plushie recently, like right around March. It came in. I was like, oh yeah, first birthday. Well, not birthday. First date. First date. Okay. Oh yeah, I did this indie VTuber. He goes by Blythe. He graduated like back in February, so that's why I did this for him. I really like how I made him more somewhat detailed. It's all blue hair. I mean, it went by very fast, so I won't blame you. But I did, like... This took a lot of time out of me, and I think I'm pretty proud of how his eyes turned out. Like, it has the flame in there. Did one of Fauna. I think this one was cute. I liked how her little braid and stuff that I did. Oh, that's me. I don't care if I get doxxed. I don't want to see all the other stuff. because some of this other stuff is like just nonsense. Yeah, that's me IRL. But I stream myself IRL once in a while. Probably once a year. I did it like last year. In December, so some of these are just whatever. Okay. We got Crony. I like how the chain on her headband turned out. That's probably one of the most proudest moments I had for her. This is my dog. His name is Iggy. The Iggy. So you better say hi to him. Okay, and then here's Mume. And this was her birthday that I did it for. I'm pretty proud of the whole shading stuff. The Bane's not so much, but everything else looked pretty good for me. I just don't want to go through all of Twitter. That's what. Because there may or may not be some sussy stuff. Egg roll. Oh, here's one of Iris. I don't think I liked how I made her eyes so big. I might have to redo her. It looks... I don't know. A little derpy, I guess. What else we got? These were like one of my first ones. Yeah, I'm gonna probably do her later on. Here's Bay. I put her like as a little mouse when she's talking. So I've been making these like as Fugi. So for Discord stuff. Unless they're like, graduate or something, or I'm just too busy. Alright, here's Fuwa. I like her smile that I did. And then Mokoko. And then this is Gerard's. And then we already seen Regis would be coming up, yeah. I think that's all my art so far of the Nezoberries. And that's what I've been calling them as. Oh, Spectre Wolf. You follow me on Twitter now? Like I said, I don't really post a lot of stuff unless it's like art or schedules. Robot. It's for a goal. Okay, I did it one time for YouTube and now I'll do it again for a Twitch. Okay? Okay. Actually, the first time, like, what was it? There was the cake. The cake one I really liked. The cake decorating and Sonic Simulator. Those were pretty good, actually. I only played those two, and I think Dress to Impress because it's like popular. And the Banana Game Show. I only played 4 games, so yeah. I mean, it's not too bad, but just the thought of how there would be younger kids there is just no, no, and how cringe it is and whatever. No, 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 no. And then for YouTube, we're gonna play Papa Pizzeria, or the kind of like the series of Papa's, which is free. Let's see here. Let me move myself. There's one with ice cream. I think there's ones with looks like cupcakes, wings, sandwich, sushi. We're not really gonna play it now, but just to get you guys the idea how it's. There's pasta and I guess slushy makers, donuts, hot dogs, burgers, pies. So there's just a whole bunch. So we'll play that until we get like 200. It's a childhood game. I will say that it's a childhood game. Yeah. Alright, I think, I don't know, I'm getting tired all of a sudden and I need to eat, so I'm gonna end it here. Tomorrow we'll go play Sunless Zone Zero, which should be longer than this stream. So thank you everybody for watching today's stream. I hope you guys liked it.